which is probably time sensitive, is this summer we're moving towards city church members.
Walk away. She wasn't
sure whose legs it was. What happened?
So we have hired child care providers up until now on purpose because of the nature of our season in the spring was highly training sensitive. We wanted everyone to be a part of every week so that we could kind of launch from the same place. We wanted to serve people so that people wouldn't miss out. But going forward, we are going to be doing childcare internally on a rotation. During the transition, Emily has offered to help 1 or 2 weeks, but even starting now, today, right now, we would need a volunteer to go help serve as backup. And we can do rotations. We're going to tape as much as we can so that if you miss anything, like the calendar that I'm about to lay out, we'll make sure everyone has that resource. So could I have someone, in the spirit of Church's Family, volunteer to go hang out with the kiddos?
Can do that. Most of them are mine.
Before you do, thank you. Can you quick share about the evangelism training things that you're doing the last Saturday of the month?
Yes. Yeah. Yesterday, ministry partner of mine, his name is Aaron Myers. Aaron and I are going to be offering on the fourth Saturday of every month just a real simple taste and see or an on-ramp of kind of house of peace or person of peace searching. So just doing a real simple discovery Bible study on Luke chapter 10 and highlighting the things that Jesus challenged his disciples to do and not do when he sent them out. And we're just looking at that, and then we're going out into the community and blessing people, asking them how we can pray for them, just kind of building faith in people more than anything, and hopefully stirring up some, hey, that isn't as bad as I thought it would be, it's not as scary, and there are so many people that are open and receptive. How do we continue to share the gospel with them? How do we make disciples? So we had 20 people there yesterday. We went out, 36 houses answered. We knocked on a lot of doors, but 36 of them opened up and invited us in, or at least were willing for conversation. We prayed over 30 of those people.
That's awesome.
We got to gospel shares with 6 of them.
Hmm.
So just in an hour with a few people, all of a sudden you're like, man, what if this was our lifestyle? What if we lived on mission? And so just that simple, our heart is, discipleship has become something that's very knowledge-based and dependent on, our own maybe skills or adequacies. And we're wanting to shift that and say, no, this is really obedience-based, and it's completely dependent on the Holy Spirit working through us. So we would just want to build faith to be going out. And so fourth Saturday so June 23rd, we'll be meeting again. And right now we're meeting at Life Church because it's semi-central and they're open. And so it's from 9 to noon. Most of that is time out in the harvest, but a little bit of training on the front end and some debrief and next steps on the back end.
So we've been in a season of gathering, learning our values as Church's Family. We've been just soaking ourselves in gospel-centeredness. We've built that foundation where we've gathered and we're growing the knowledge of the gospel. And this summer, we're moving into a season of those other 2 rhythms, which are scatter and serve. Hopefully you memorize that by now. So we're scattering. That's this idea that the impulse or the fruit of the gospel is that it does this work in us, and then we are called out of the nature of it, what God has done to us, He wants to do through us. So this is a great training opportunity. If evangelism looks scary to you, this is such a benefit to our team that one, Justin's a part of our team, and he's doing this with other churches. The process that we're going through to build our church plant, that is much like what Justin does with other churches, trying to kind of catalyze people to get them thinking about what does it look like to become people that make disciples. And so he's a huge resource, and the fact that he's doing this training would just add on what we're going to do, and what we're talking about, how can we incorporate some of what he brings to some of our training this summer. So I would just say if the Spirit's prompting your heart, mark that calendar date and be in touch with Justin, and we'll give you guys more resource. And I hope to come this next one. Luke and I are playing a gig at Cafe at Eastside later that
What's
day.
the best way to engage with that? Like
Yeah.
communication wise, I'm thinking we could post that on our internal page.
Yeah, on the
What
Facebook.
before, maybe have your wife do that, or. But is there other ways that like to get in touch or know the details or those kinds of things?
Well, I'll maybe just
Send an
email
email.
Sure.
the details to you guys, and you can post that. Or most of the people that I had contact info
Yep.
for, I
Mhm.
sent
Yep.
out just
Perfect.
a brief
Yeah.
invite. But
So yeah, we are multiplying our missional communities, and so we want to give you guys as many resources to say, okay, this is a summer of outreach. Going into this season, this is a great opportunity. So yeah, pray about that and be obedient if God's called you to at least check it out once and get equipped, and if not more. Sound good? Sweet. Yeah, well, it's been a couple weeks since we've met. 2 weeks ago when we did meet, it was kind of we were hosting a lot of new people, so we've had a good 3 weeks of break from information, which I'm sure has been needed. But we just want to update you guys on, more of what we have been planning for the rest of the summer. Yeah, I think they're out in the playground. Thanks, Justin. So kind of update you on our rhythms. And before we do that, I want to just introduce 3 new people that have joined us formally at City Church. And if you could, maybe, what are some good synopsis questions? Not like cheesy icebreaker questions.
Okay, that's where I was
Social security number.
Just give us the 2-minute, why you're here and what you're excited about in joining City Church. So Cody Bullwig, you can stand up, Cody.
Hi, Cody.
Cody he's a dear friend. Jared's old childhood friend that we met through Select Painting. I'll let you share. Why are you here and what are you excited about?
I'm here because I was kind of originally planning to join earlier on in the process, but then going to school and work got a little overwhelmed. So Dana kind of opened the opportunity for me to join when school got out. So I just graduated from USF, and just super excited for kind of a more community-based church. I lead worship, so I've been kind of jumping around churches for the last couple of years, and just excited to really be in the same church and have more kind of intentional community than just kind of leading worship on Sundays.
Sweet.
Yeah.
We're glad to have Cody. He's got a huge heart for worship and excited for discipleship. And you'll get to know him. Buy him a cup of coffee or whatever you like to drink or eat. Jeff and Becky, would you guys stand up and share a little bit? You got D-Love with you?
Give me your D-Love.
You wanna go first? You wanna say?
You sure?
Oh.
Go ahead.
Well, why we're here is probably, I was talking to Justin before we started and just saying, I heard a news program, or radio program 2 days ago about just how people who are leaving the traditional church isn't the millennials, it's the 50-somethings, because they're going to find some, they feel like they can offer themselves in deeper ways outside of the traditional whatever, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's us. That's what we're doing. We've been at First Baptist for 30 years. And so just for a long time, I've been part of Sioux Falls Regional Outpouring, I'm part of Direct Line Prayer Center. So getting more into praying and getting into the heart of the city and more, that's where God's been drawing me anyway, and Jeff as well. So we're just excited. We feel like God gave us the okay. This is what we're supposed to do. We tried to lead First Baptist well, and I feel like we did as well as we could. So we're on board now, and we're all in.
Sweet.
So,
Yeah.
you want to say anything else?
I think you nailed it.
Did you say who you're related to?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, Daintree and Nate. Daintree's our daughter. And
Yeah.
Nate's our special son-in-law.
Special son-in-law.
Yes, they're all
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be your Christmas t-shirt. Special son-in-law. Again, I feel this way about everybody, but just highlight, we just feel so blessed. I think the theme, as we've been receiving people, so many of you guys, when you've said yes to joining it's an abstract vision that we've pitched. I felt like I thought you guys would have many more questions than you did. But it was like these moments when people have joined us, and Cody included, where it just felt like, wow, God, you are so generous to us. And there's so many of you here. There's just been that wow, God moment when you guys have joined us. I felt that way with you guys. They bring a ton of experience and a huge heart for the city. So welcome. We're glad to have you. And get to know them. They're amazing people. I'm looking forward to getting to know them even more as we do life and church and mission together. So awesome. Summer plans. So if you have a calendar, or if you got the email, or if you want to pull up the Facebook post about summer calendars, we just want a quick review some thematic things that we want to accomplish this summer, and then for you guys to kind of save some dates to make sure we can all be on the same page this summer. As we got feedback from everybody as far as things really getting busy towards the end of the school year, I think we're all like getting a breath of fresh air now that all the public schools are done. We've just sensed that we just needed a season of rest and kind of activating. So we've gotten a lot of good gospel-rich teachings, and some of our values were really hit really hard with Church's family. We're becoming a group, right? That stuff takes time, and we put it on pretty heavy and thick, and we recognize that. There's a couple of things we would have done differently, and some things we're going to adjust moving forward. But just to say, we hear you, we see you, and also we release you now, because we're moving from kind of a centralized, we're getting together as a group, to now we're spreading out. And we're going to celebrate today missional communities being birthed. From one, we're going to become three. And so the nature of our Sunday night meetings is going to become less about us going through the same process, and more about you coming and us celebrating what God's doing in your missional communities, so that we get to celebrate with each other. We get to learn from each other through those celebrations. And then we're going to have these more immersive, I would say, exercises, or trying to think of a good metaphor. Justin, a long time ago, when we were looking for a building back at Arise, he would use the language about a church being less of a place where we are gathering just for gathering's sake, but more of like an airport. And as I think about our Sunday nights, especially this summer, it'll be more like an airport. Your missional communities will be coming in, you'll be landing, you'll be resting, you'll be refueling, and then we want whatever we're constructing, whatever we're doing, to just send you back out into your MC, and to be encouraged and equipped and giving you space to be obedient and how to be missional. So that's what this summer is going to feel like. This spring, the rhythms we focused on we're gathering, right? We kind of just taught birthdays and family and hospitality. And we talked about the other rhythm was growing, right? And we really hit the gospel. What's our gospel story, and what's the power of the gospel? How do we get fluent so that everything we're doing is birthed out of what God is doing in us, not something we have to do, but we do who we are, right? We're moving towards scattering and serving. So naturally, we're going to gather less, and what we're going to do is make these more opportunities where we give you guys food to chew on, to be thinking about what does this look like in your mission community. Today, just to start that process, Luke is going to be teaching us an exercise on how to listen well. So we're going to touch on intellectual hospitality, but just not even just intellectual hospitality. We're going to just try to relearn how do we be good friends to each other and to people. I don't want to steal his thunder. It's going to be really good, but we want to give these practical things of what does this look like as we're scattering and serving and thinking outward this summer. Next week, we are not going to do a meal, and our plan is to do meals. We're going to shift from doing meals every week to probably twice a month. Am I right there?
Yes.
Yeah. So next week we're going to do that for the first time, and hopefully we're trying to lighten the load on Sundays so that you can have more time and space and energy for missional communities. So what we're going to do next week, we're going to worship, we're going to pray together, and then I'm going to send you guys out with 5 questions about, we call them missional questions, where we're really just going to give space for missional communities to really sort through some questions that help us get us thinking about our mission. And we're going to take those 5 questions and we're going to go to a place. We're going to leave from here, probably meet here for 15, 20 minutes. And we're going to pray, and we're going to send you guys out for the rest of the time to go do prayer walks around these 5 questions. And so 5 questions are: who are the people you're called to? What are their values? What are their false gospels or saviors? And we just start asking ourselves these questions, start praying through them, start praying for those people so that we use this time more, again, as a launch pad to your missional community. I don't want to go through the whole summer. Do you have the...
Are we eating next week?
I have it that we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll be meeting at 6. When we're not eating together, we'll be meeting at 6. And it's important that we come on time so we can just kind of get it done so we can get out next week and other times that we meet at 6. So if it helps, if you have kids, maybe just aim to be here at 5:45. We know how that goes. So other calendar stuff to be aware of. Our other goal is that we would take a Sunday off a month too. We realize it's been a busy season. We realize summer times, everyone's traveling, and sometimes we just need breaks, right? There's this wonderful leadership principle in our huddles that we'll go through about how we need time to rest before we work. And so as a rhythm this summer, we want to, once a month, we're just not going to meet. And that's meant to open up our lives and provide some place of rest, but also we're going to encourage in the time and space that maybe we would have met, that again, this is an opportunity for your missional communities to be a little more strategic and do something, some of the rhythms that we're going to be doing in mission, and just really knowing the needs of your missional community. We're going to say, instead of us meeting, we're going to give more space and time for that. What's our next week off? Father's Day?
17.
Yeah. So the next 2 weeks, we're going to do equipping, some sending out next week. 3 weeks, Father's Day weekend. We know a lot of people are traveling. We're not going to meet. We're actually doing a men's kayaking trip. For those who have not got back to me or not heard about it, please talk to me. The kayaking trip is going to be a form of us spending time together, but also outreach, bringing guys that would enjoy that and showing them the family of God through our fellowship. So, yeah,
Really excited.
Yeah, I am too.
So can I come?
Men's outreach. Yeah. I would say, ladies, go ahead and plan something. You should plan something. Maybe not necessarily that weekend. I know that could be busy. But if you guys want a weekend where you want to do something, ladies, go for it. And we'll basically have to say yes because we're asking you the same. So.
I already invited a guy who's really interested who's not a Christian.
Sweet. Yeah, I got a couple as well that are interested. So super pumped for that. The other rhythm, and this is kind of the rhythm of the whole summer. I'm going through June, but the rest of the summer will be like this. On the last Sunday of June is our next Vision Night. How much fun was that 2 weeks ago? I thought that was, it felt like we turned a corner and I could finally you start seeing things. It's like, okay, this is taking shape. So cool to see how many people God brought on a really busy weekend. There's tons of people that couldn't come, and I'm glad they didn't because we didn't really have room for them. But just, it was so exciting to see the energy. And we're going to be doing that once a month to the end of summer until we get enough people. If we have more people than we need committed, then in August we may not. But it's just a great opportunity for us just to remember the vision and to worship together and to pray together for who God's calls to be. So I have created a Facebook page for that. If you don't use Facebook, you don't have to use that as your medium of inviting people. But pray about who would God call you to invite. It's not that you're necessarily recruiting. You're just inviting them to have the conversation, discuss what we're about, and we want to give people space to discern that. So I feel like it's been a great environment to do that. It was a great first night. And if any feedback towards how it went, or questions you had, or questions some of your guests had, please let us know. We want to make it better and better. So,
how many of you have people that you know would are coming to at least one this summer? One.
Okay.
So it's mostly you.
So we had a lot. Well, in the CrossFit,
yeah.
there's a lot of CrossFitters.
Well, I was more so we don't have what happened last night where it's like if everybody shows up, what do we do?
Yeah. So if we just be ahead of time with that, try to get RSVPs. We want to make sure we have enough childcare workers. There's a lot of yeah. And just be ready on those nights to help host. Maybe you haven't been thinking about recruiting a bunch of people. But this is all that I've been talking to people for the last 9 months about. So there's a lot of people that I'm going to be inviting, and I was pretty overwhelmed because there was just so many new people and there was so few of us. And it was fine. It totally worked out. Jeff and Becky started hosting people. I'm like, you guys just fit right in. It was awesome. But just be ready to host people's questions. Be ready to kind of be a utility player where you're ready to serve anywhere, because we don't know how many people are going to end up coming and how many kids. And so just be ready for those nights to be kind of we're all in it, all hands on deck kind of thing. So the rest of the summer is pretty similar. We'll get more details as those come closer. We are trying to schedule a camp out July 15th weekend. Inspiration Hills doesn't have any cabins, but they have tent sites. So if you're savage and you want to go for it.
What about the Eagle Crest Lodge?
What about Tent is Savage?
That actually could be racially insensitive.
We
now
need
that
to
I
look
think
at
about it.
more.
Don't say too much.
So, but we can't meet here that weekend, and again, we want to have rhythms of rest and recreation. So if you have any ideas, we could tent in Inspiration Hills, or we could do
Can't
something
use a
else
lot?
that weekend. So
We don't use a
no,
lot?
there's a couple rooms in the main area, but that would kind of be
I'll take one of
destroyed.
them.
Glamping.
I love camping. Like camping with children.
Yeah,
That's a beast.
yeah, it
That's
is.
more than savage. It's a beast.
So we're open to suggestions. We just want to, one of the rhythms that our coaching has, they've suggested is part of being on mission together is having fun together and recreating together. And I attest to that. When we went to LA with the Illini and to Naples, I felt so much closer to them after that trip. So we just want to have some time to spend together. So I think that's all I'm going to share.
Just briefly.
Oh, July?
Serve the City Day.
Oh, yes, July 29th. Our plan, July 29th, as we're going from Gather, Grow to Scatter and Serve, is on July 29th, we have this night where we'd serve the city. So our plan is in each missional community, we're going to say, hey, what's something that we can be doing either together or separate, that we are actively seeking and meeting a real tangible need in our community. And it could be in our city proper, or it could be, select painting. It could be you're painting a house for someone that's in need. CrossFit, good luck. I don't know that whole world. But the point is that we're kind of saying, hey, we're going to kick off what this would look like. We're going to start building relationships and make that a yearly tradition, so that when we have 8 missional communities or 20, that this is just this moment where we are on one day making an impression to our city, saying we love you, Jesus loves you, he's for the good of the city, and so are we, and make our presence known and catalyze some relationships in our community. So we want to start that this year, even though we only have 3. We still feel like this is something that we want to get going. So be praying about what would that look like, and mark that date off. And at the end of that night, we're going to gather and celebrate in some form or fashion. If you want to help plan that event, we'd love some.
It'll also likely be a great chance to bring people with you.
Yeah.
Hey, we're going to serve. You want to serve with us? They
Yeah.
don't have to get the whole thing.
Yeah,
Just
non-Christians,
so.
especially millennials, that's their connection point. That's where we have common values, and so it's a great outreach opportunity as well. And then we hope to get shirts that say, "I love SF." It's been one of my ideas for a year. I'm really excited. All right, so mark that date. The rest we'll get out to you. July's Vision Night's the 22nd, but it's all on the calendar. We're still working on some August things. But yeah, so.
Any questions on that?
So we need to be planning with our missional communities what that's going to look like.
Which one?
The 29th.
Serve the City one.
Yeah, I think we need to nail that how we want that really to look. Permissional painting.
If we could find something that we'd all do together, that'd be awesome. But we don't want to hinder if there's a more something that makes more sense for the mission community. But whatever it is, we want to do it big, and we want to put resources to it. And our partner churches want to come and join us as well. So there's hundreds of people, and if we had opportunities, we'll come and we can mobilize them and make an impact. So think big.
Yeah, so maybe the best thing would be to start generating things internally that you know of that are big needs that can be met by more than one person. That need a team of people.
Yeah. Like clean up the Sioux River. Thing's nasty.
Maybe not quite that big.
Let's build tiny houses.
Yes.
I will say we do know the mayor, and he could probably give us a list of things. And also pray for him. He, yeah,
Can you donate time to us?
he's awesome. No.
To build like-
Also pray that the mayor would join our launch team. The seed has been planted.
He said if he wasn't gonna be,
Yeah,
he didn't get voted to be the mayor, he would have, so it's kind of a.
Why did we vote?
But you never know. I know. I thought the same thing. Okay, let's move on. I want to give Luke some space. We're gonna